So welcome to the first of what will be hopefully weekly video blogs dedicated to providing some updates on the situation regarding coronavirus and also the reinforcement of the information that's been sent out in writing from communications to inform people about what the organisation's doing to continue to provide services during this unprecedented period, and also what we're doing to ensure that staff feel properly and well supported and safe in their workplace and outside the workplace. So we're absolutely 100% committed as an organisation to ensure that all staff feel properly supported in work and also feel safe if they do come into work, and also feel supported if they need to be away from the workplace. We've set up twice weekly Gold Command meetings which are chaired by myself and involve all the executive team and heads of locality and all our key clinical advisors to ensure that we're fully aware of and understand guidance that's coming through from government and Public Health England, and that we're able to interpret that and put in place rapid plans to implement that guidance across the organisation. So the guidance that was the latest guidance that was issued early this week, we've summarised key aspects of in the communication that was issued on Tuesday. So in summary, that is that people who are symptomatic, so that's people with a new persistent dry cough or a high temperature over 37.8, should self-isolate for 7 days. Anybody who has a member of the household who has those symptoms should also self-isolate for 14 days. There are also some additional bits of guidance in the latest communication from Public Health England regarding specific at-risk groups. So the communication that we issued on Tuesday summarised those key at-risk groups, so over 70s, under 70 with underlying health conditions, or people who are pregnant should take extra care and extra precautions, in particular around social distancing. So there was a table and a link to some more detailed guidance in the communication which describes what measures people should be trying to take to minimise contact with other people. If you've got any concerns about how that applies to you, then please do talk to your manager or a head of locality, because we absolutely want to do all we can to ensure that people in those groups particularly are protected and feel safe. Additional information that was sent out on Tuesday related to pay. So obviously self-isolation creates particular questions and complexities around pay. So there was some initial guidance and commitments around us applying some flexibility around pay for people who are self-isolating. The finance team are working on the details of that and how it would be applied in practice. So please do read communications that come out, because that further information will be coming out over the next few days. And lastly, annual leave. So a number of people who had annual leave booked between now and the end of March understandably are unable to take that annual leave. So we're keen to ensure that you feel that you're able to get your full entitlement for the year, and offering to make payments in lieu of annual leave for people who've had to cancel before the end of March. So again, please speak to your manager or a head of locality if that applies to you. So we're taking a number of measures across the organisation to try to enable staff to feel as though they can continue to contribute to the organisation and their work if they're able to, by working remotely if at all possible. So if you're able to undertake all or aspects of your work away from the office, then we'd encourage you to speak to your manager and make arrangements to do so. Specifically, we're making available up to 50 laptops from the beginning of next week to allow people who still need access to the organisation's clinical systems, files and folders to be able to do so, but working remotely. And we'll be allocating those across the organisation to those key individuals from the beginning of next week. And we've also configured our Exxon telephone system to allow people that need to use that system to make telephone calls for the organisation to be able to do so with their own personal mobile devices without it affecting their personal minutes or data. So again, we'll be providing details of that arrangement in the coming days. From a service point of view, we've already made plans to adjust where and how we provide care as the situation changes and demand escalates and our workforce becomes more affected. So examples include condensing down the number of sites that we operate from. So it's very possible that we may well be reducing the number of GP practice sites that we might be looking to provide services from to enable us to make best use of the available workforce that we've got. And also the number of treatment centre sites that we're operating from out of hours may well change over time as workforce availability becomes challenged and demand changes. Specifically in out of hours, we've already allocated 2 of our treatment centres to be respiratory hubs so that we're streaming patients that are symptomatic down to those hubs and separating them from other hubs which are managing non-symptomatic patients with other problems. So currently Wythenshawe and Ashton out of hours treatment centre sites are our respiratory hubs. MRI, North Manchester and Oldham, along with our Sefton, Southport treatment centres and our Preston and Chorley treatment centres are continuing to see asymptomatic patients. We've also made some significant progress in managing patients in their own home without having to have direct face-to-face contact with them. So all our GP practices are managing a triage and telephone advice first service and inviting people down to the practices for appointments only where necessary, and that's working well. And we've also, in a really short space of time, has transformed the way in which we provide telephone advice to patients. So last weekend just gone, we managed a significantly greater number of people through telephone advice, both protecting patients from having to travel out of their own house and have contact with other people, but also protecting staff as much as possible from having contact with them. So I just want to thank everybody for all the hard work, because that was turned around in a really short space of time last weekend, and we've already seen the impact that can have. It's highly likely that we're going to see changes over the coming weeks, and we're going to be making operational changes on a daily basis. So I would just urge everybody to remain patient, continue to participate in some of the operational changes that we might even have to make on shift at times, and also in response to very, very rapidly changing guidance. So finally, I just want to say a continued thanks for all your commitment, hard work. We really want you to stay safe. We want you to remain calm. If you've got any concerns about anything or any questions about how you can continue to work, or whether you need to be at home and how we can support you with that, then please do ask any member of the management team, your own direct manager, or a supervisor within the organisation.